Welcome to the NonFunGerbils and the Digitally Rare podcast. We've come together to have a good old chinwag all about the NFT space, and especially the recent PFP project craze. Digitally Rare was the first NFT podcast with their original episode airing in July 2018. Jonathan and Matt are super fun and insightful, and we hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we did. At the end, we read out entries for BearGerbil and announce the winner, who was chosen and brought to life by the wonderful Stina Jones. All right, see you on the other side.
Welcome to the NonFunGerbils podcast, the show about digitally scarce gerbils, non-fungible assets, and the growing decentralized economy.
Jonathan Mann and Matt Condon, welcome to the podcast.
Howdy.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here. I think I was saying to you guys, I don't know who I was talking to on Twitter. I was saying, like, I want us both to use this as, like, we'll put this in our feed and you'll put that in our feed and in your feed. So we should also say, welcome to our podcast.
Oh, hey.
Right, exactly. And I'm one of the many Matts.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
We do intros at the same time, like that scene in Hamilton where they're talking over each other.
Yeah, exactly.
we can have a question off. Like, you just got to keep firing questions at each other.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's perfect.
None of us know how to be interviewed, so we're just asking each other questions. And we're like, oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Okay, here's a question about NFTs.
So I guess we see if we can answer every question with a question.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so that would be the
I don't know.
challenge.
Nice. Well, it is so good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Likewise, yeah. So we've been listening to you guys since 2018.
Oh, yeah, all the way back in the day.
The OG of NFT podcasts.
And then we left, and you guys took over. And
It was literally, I think we both released an episode the same month, and that was your Clover's episode, and that was our first and your last.
Amazing.
Yep.
And we were like, where
I bet.
where have they gone? What's going on?
Yeah.
Right. We tagged out. I remember that time as well because we had met, I think George and I had met very quickly at one of the conferences in Berlin, and I have an NFT from that experience sitting in my wallet, which is pretty dope.
Is it a NonFunGerbils NFT? I didn't know this.
It's the
Genesis
I
Gerbil.
didn't know this. That's
the Genesis Gerbil.
Ooh, that's
The Genesis Gerbil. They're quite rare, dude.
I bet. Yeah. Where is this? There it is.
I think we were that's right. We were interviewing people.
look at that.
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Boom.
Yeah.
Do you know which
Delightful.
token number it is?
Oh, wow.
I think it's quite low.
It is. Is it? It's Gerbil number 1, token number 23.
Oh, there we
Look
go.
at that.
Yeah.
Good
Damn.
number.
Yeah, only 25 of
23.
them. So that's really exciting.
We gave you a sticker as well. That was our only
sticker,
set
yes.
of stickers that we've ever done.
Matt's love
Nice.
stickers too. Matt
I do.
is like a sticker fool.
It's got pride of place on the laptop, is it?
Yeah, we can check behind, but that would shut my laptop off.
No, don't.
But whilst we're here and we're talking about memorabilia,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Digitality Rare, the shirt. Boom.
I've got the t-shirt.
Goodness. Amazing.
I think it's one of like 21.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
not a
few
lot.
shirts. That's like super rare.
Mine's behind me.
And I have one too, but sadly I'm not sporting mine today.
Yeah. And somehow neither am I, weirdly.
I don't know if you guys had questions that you wanted to start with, but the one thing that continues to be on my mind, and Matt and I just did a whole episode about it, but the thing that just is continually that I'm thinking about is the PFP craze and what it means for NFTs, and as a group of OGs, as it were. I'm curious where you guys are falling on this spectrum of PFP, love it, hate it, something else. How are you feeling about it these days?
When you say PFP, you mean pay for play?
No. So this is funny because Matt had the exact same reaction. Matt had the exact same reaction.
They
when we were
made
talking
they
about
made
it.
up this acronym while I was blinking, apparently.
And no one told most people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So PFPs is this craze of the profile pictures.
Oh, right. Yes.
You know, you got the Yetis, you got obviously you got the apes and the cool cats,
The cats
and the
everything. You name it, there's a thing.
You name it. Yeah, it's the rule 34 of NFTs now is like, if you can imagine it.
If it's an animal,
yeah.
I mean, I've been seeing some memes around about artists feeling like they've been left out because everyone's just buying avatars.
Yeah.
And but I think that it's one of the inevitabilities of having NFTs and having identities that you're going to want to get something unique which represents you and which is going to be your profile picture. And so it makes sense that there are many, many different things that people can choose from, so they can identify themselves with some kind of unique. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, definitely. It does feel pretty inevitable. And obviously it's easy to say that with hindsight. But yeah, it's like Twitter is the social network, and the way that you express yourself on Twitter is via avatar. Therefore, once you have crypto people interested in identity and ownership, you get NFT avatars.
I'm kind of surprised that people don't use the artworks that they buy as their avatars as well.
That's really interesting.
I mean, maybe some people do.
What's funny is that I had this one fan of Song a Day who bought a year one and used some of the artwork, by Defaced, which is like amazing artwork by an amazing artist. And he used one of them as his avatar, and it just didn't work because it wasn't, it wasn't made to be an avatar, and so it doesn't quite
didn't fit
look
the context so perfectly.
Didn't fit the context. So I think that was the real unlock, as they say, by these projects. Is like, no, we're gonna set out to make something that's specifically I think you probably could, and I would be surprised if we start seeing more art, abstract based projects that set out to be profile pictures.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic form context fit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like once you have this dedicated canvas, it's like the form context fit is best when you design for the canvas.
Right.
One thing that I'm surprised I haven't seen more is people using their Twitter header photos as a digital wall. I just had that idea. I was like, cool. It'd be cool if there were a website where you could select 3 of the NFTs you own and it'll generate a Twitter header with artist attribution and maybe a token ID number or something.
I think that someone was working on that, actually.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. It's a good idea.
Yeah. Someone, I'm forgetting exactly who, but someone was working on something like that.
Yeah. And that's how a lot of money broke into the NFT space, isn't it? He was designing banners and John McAfee. And got him to make some custom ones.
Oh, I didn't know that story. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah.
So yeah, but before he was making NFTs, he was making Twitter banners. And they're amazing.
Wow. That's like old forum signatures from back in the day.
Right.
Yeah. What an iconic move.
Yeah. And actually, that reminds me that we need to update our Twitter banner. And we've never changed our Twitter profile picture. It has always been a backwards FOMO gerbil.
We changed ours relatively recently because Matt came and stayed with me on a bike ride. And we had his friend take a picture of us laying in the grass together. And so I changed the banner to us laying in the grass, which was nice. Because the other one, I had to sort of Photoshop us into one picture together. And this way, now we actually exist in meat space together, which is nice.
Right. We had no pictures together, which I guess makes sense because the only times we've seen each other have been conferences.
Yep.
And remembering to take a photo for the podcast Twitter banner was never a priority.
Yeah.
But yeah, I biked through his town and was like, yo, what up? I'm here. And we got to take a pic right before I left.
And then I was also able to get a hand NFT.
Yes. Get a Mad NFT from the hand.
Which was thrilling.
I'm so disappointed that we didn't, because I never actually got to scan your hand when we met.
Right. Well, I hadn't done it at the time. I think I started this, when did I start this officially? It must have been less than a year ago, but I think definitely during the pandemic. Yes, it was definitely during the pandemic because it was a little bit ironic that people had to meet me in person to get one. And I was like, that just makes it more rare because I only see 20 people.
That's
so
it. Yeah,
It's
it.
proof of meeting, kind of.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Literally.
Yeah. So I bet that one could track with high correlation.
Oh yeah.
How many Matt NFTs have been issued and COVID cases, or at least public response to COVID over the last few
Completely.
months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Talk us through the many mats as a concept for anyone listening who doesn't know about it.
Yeah. So it's an art project based on this idea of digital and physical scarcity, and then it's given form via this weird chip that I have injected into my hand, such that when you scan my hand with your phone, it's just a normal chip that you can tap with your iPhone or your Android, and it opens up a link. You can get an NFT of my face, and I have 5 different designs, all with differing rarities, and so it's a little bit of a Pokemon gamble kind of situation when you scan my hand, and it's this sort of interrogation of digital scarcity and saying like, okay, cool, you have a digitally scarce thing. What if you don't distribute it via money? What if you give it away via some other scarce interaction? In this case, you have to be in the same time and place as I am.
Or find a sticker, right? Or find a sticker.
Or
somewhere
find a
in the world.
sticker, which only one person has done so far. I place physical stickers around New York and pretty much everywhere I go. So if you find one of those, send me a picture and I'll send you a claimable.
I was
link.
wondering how that transaction worked.
It's just a manual trust mat process.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other situation is I did a demo of this wallet concept that I was building, and in it is a QR code for a mat sticker. And someone was able to pause the Twitter video, which is like hilariously encoded. You know, it's not a very crisp video. And they were able to get it to scan. And so they were able to claim it from somewhere across the internet.
That's nice though. That's like hacking the system.
Exactly. I love that. I think it's part of the art.
There's some fairly dedicated mat hunters there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's really great. But every tweet up I go to, at least with the ones that Mike Damaris are at, he's like, yo, do you know about this guy? He's got the NFT in his hand. And then we'll just leave. And I'm sitting there like explaining it.
Oh man, it's so funny, the scarcity thing, because I'm sitting here right now and there's nothing I can do to get a Matt NFT because you're all the way over there, and now I have FOMO.
Right.
That's it.
And it sort of speaks to why we're all here a little bit.
Literally.
Yeah, it definitely I totally get that. Like, I want to collect the thing for no other reason than to have the thing and then to be in the group of people that have the thing. Like, that is such a powerful effect. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
NFTs, roll credits.
That's it.
We nailed it.
Have you heard about
We're done.
NFTs, you want the thing done. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there might be a secondary market. It's hard to say. I mean, I'm sure someone I've given a NFT to wouldn't mind trading it for some amount of money. I have no idea though. There's no benefit to having it that way.
DM George if you're that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right,
We're market making now.
Totally. I am a buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess in some ways, Matt, it could also be almost like, it'll be the kind of thing where when you found the unicorn company that you're destined to found, and you become
Maybe
a famous founder, then it's like owning one of these will be, worth a ton of money. It's like it has that
totally
effect too.
That'd be really fun. Yeah. I would like to do some sort of weird interactions with it, like maybe I live stream one of my days and then let people who own mats vote on what I do, or like where I eat breakfast or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, TBD. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be neat.
Matt Dow.
I mean, it's a social token, right? So it's like any of the other social tokens that were hot half a year ago, just an NFT.
Also, having a Matt NFT from during the pandemic is going to be especially scarce.
Oh, yeah,
Right. That's true. It means you were closer to Matt than anyone else. Yeah.
It's interesting though, because that speaks. I like that idea that you can get something purely from interest sake, and it's fun, and if you're deep into the NFT space, these experiments are super interesting. But this idea that it can gain value over time depending on what happens in the future, because very often, like, I look at some of the NFTs that are happening now, and people are beginning to kind of package previous stories that people have done. So, like, photo shoots from such and such. I remember, I think, does it? Kurt Cobain's last photo shoot was sold, I think, and so
interesting.
So those are like stories that have happened in the past, and you're encapsulating that story in an NFT and selling it. But then NFTs also have this ability. You were there first, or you were there early, purely for interest's sake, and then the story develops later, and you get that value accrue further down the line, and that's just a really interesting way of looking at NFTs, I think, because there's value in both directions.
Yeah, which direction the value comes from. That's absolutely it makes me think of the memes too. It makes me think of like how these people who made these ubiquitous memes that we all just are literally part of the fabric of the internet, suddenly being able to attach the scarcity to them, and the stuff that Matt Fury is doing, the Pepe guy, with these little pegs things is incredible. What he's been able to
what is that?
He's making his own little like PFP style things, but they're very his style, and they're very, very scarce. And there's not like I don't think there's like a set number of them or anything. He's just doing these drops of these little round, he calls them pegs, PEGZ, and they're really neat. Yeah, they're really cool, and it's like the Pepe guy, and so
right,
you know what I mean, quote unquote, the guy who made Pepe's.
Right. So there's narrative attached. Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love the Pepe's. There's an amazing artist who paints traditional paintings, from hundreds of years ago, but with Pepe heads.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow! Like paints on top of them.
Yeah, they're oil paintings. Like it recreates them, but with Pepe's.
That's quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I dig fantastic. The find old art at a thrift shop or something, and then paint something silly on top of it.
Yes,
I quite like that as well.
Yeah.
Ooh, what if someone did that for NFTs, like a dead NFT, and then you graffiti it up and sell that as an individual?
Oh, that's fun. You mean like a burned NFT maybe, or even something like that?
Yeah, not even a burned one, just something that someone has forgotten about, and then wrap it, and then redo the metadata on the wrapped contract, and have that be a fun sort of iteration of the old NFT.
A thrift store NFT.
Yeah, totally. That's quite fun.
NFT thrift store, that has yet to be a marketplace niche.
NFTs, non-fungible thrift store, baby.
We're still early.
Yeah. That's a fun art project. Maybe I'll do that.
So Jonathan, so we've heard a little bit about Matt. I had this we haven't actually gone into our details here, but you are the Song a Day man.
Yes.
And we can't pass that up. 12 years and 213 days.
Yes. I now have a counter on songaday.world, which is the first time, believe it or not, the first time I've ever had a counter of this kind. Normally I'm just like updating my spreadsheet. But yeah, so 12 years, 213 days, and 4,593 songs.
Wow.
What got you started? What was crossing your mind, and did you know that it was going to go on for this long?
So I started in 2009. I was 26. It was the height of that financial crisis. Now you have to specify which financial crisis you're talking about, because we just have so many. And I had been doing various other projects, and I was sort of like in between projects and looking for something, and I got a flyer. Matt, I don't know if you've ever heard this story. I got a flyer for something called Fun-A-Day, which still happens. It's just an invitation to make one piece of art every day in January. 31 days, 31 pieces of art. Fun-A-Day. It still happens. And then oftentimes, in various cities, you can find art openings that happen in February where everyone gets together and like showcases their 31 pieces. And, it runs the gamut. Like I haven't looked at it in years, but people do all kinds of things. They do sculptures and poems and pictures. And I remember the year that I did it, there was even somebody that was a pair of people that were doing a Scrabble game a day, and they were taking a picture of the Scrabble board. Like literally just think of something you want to do every day for a month and make it into art, and that's it. And so, unemployed and without any other kind of things happening in my life at the time, I decided to do a song a day for that month. And then at the end of the month, it had already started to get a little bit of traction, and it seemed like a good thing to do. So I aimed for a year. And then after a year, I just decided to keep going. And then you run into this problem, or I don't know if it's a problem, but I ran into a thing where it's like, okay, once you decide to keep going on day 366, it's like, when is the next time that you can really like stop, like if in a way that's going to feel good? Like 2 years, right. Like doing 1 year is one thing, but like doing 2 years is kind of unsatisfying. It's like really the next time you can really stop is like 5 years, and then it's like,
right.
And then it's like,
that's quite the jump.
That's quite the jump.
Once you've gone past 10 years, then
right.
Then
What's next? 100?
Yeah, 20. Then 20, I think, is then, and then after 20, you're really fucked because 50 is the next one. And doing the math, I can really only expect. I mean, life expectancy being what it is, 51 years takes me up to, I think, 90. And if I'm still doing it at 90, that'll be impressive. But that's the goal.
That will be very impressive. That's really interesting, because that's some advice I hear a lot is, if you want to do something every day, don't start with no end date, or rather the advice is start with an end date. It's like, do something every day for a week. And if you liked that, do something every day for 3 months. And if you liked that, do it for a year. But you're right. At some point, that becomes like, when can I stop?
When can I stop? Yeah. No, that's it. That's it. That's absolutely true. But that's good advice too. I haven't heard that advice, but that's absolutely what I would tell people is like.
Yeah.
And so how's it going? Do you wake up and kind of eye the guitar in the corner and know that you're going to have to pick it up and
right.
You have a sort of that kind of fear in your chest, or is it the opposite? Do you hop out of bed, grab the guitar? Has the songwriting developed over time, or is it now just totally just flies off the brain?
Well, so to your first question, it's neither of those, right? It's neither eyeing in fear or like jumping for joy. It's the way I always describe it is it's just kind of life, right? Like what? How do you feel about life every day? Are you
right.
like it's like. However you feel about life every day, that's how I feel about song a day every day, which is to say it's a freaking roller coaster and it changes all the time. And
sometimes it comes easy, sometimes it don't.
And that's life, right? And it's just this, it's literally the exact same experience, just with this one thing that I happen to do every single day, basically.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I will say it's your ability to make a song very quickly is incredibly impressive, because when we were talking about launching the Matt Hand NFT project, I was like, I'm gonna make a website, and Jonathan was like, do you want a song? And I'm like, yeah, but I want to launch in 4 hours. And he's like, I got you.
I got you, man. I have been building up for this moment.
An hour later, he hands me a song, and I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, well, I've still got 3 hours. I can make a music video to this.
You need another website, lastminutesong.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's funny with that. It's like it's so easy for me to discount that, right? To discount that skill, and it's definitely a skill, but I think it's just normal for humans to like the thing that we become proficient at. It's easy to like
absolutely
poo or forget what is unique about that, or useful even. I mean, it's not like the most useful skill to have in the world, But it's like, if you need a song quickly, like, I'm your guy, you know? It's like, it's very niche.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
You know
but I
your
can
tools
do it.
well, and
Yeah.
you have experience banging out a song every day for the last, how long was it?
Yeah, 12 years.
12 and a half years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is absolutely a skill.
We were chatting yesterday, and I said I was commenting on the Cool Cats song,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I love.
Yes, you were saying.
And I think it's probably the favorite that I've heard so
I
far.
appreciate that. I happen to be quite happy with it as well, so that's nice.
Yeah, well, I said, how long did that take you? And you said, what? About 1.5 hours,
Yeah.
based on the time. I was like, what? Well, that is a well-refined craft.
I
So-
appreciate that. Yeah, I approached that one. I was like, I love the Cool Cats, and I was like, saxophone. I was just like, when I thought of Cool Cats, I thought of a saxophone
Oh,
because
absolutely.
in some ways that's the coolest instrument, you know. So
Right.
It's what all the Cool Cats play anyway.
yeah,
It
right.
is absolutely.
Cool Cats, man. Cool Cats.
Who played the sax on that, by the way?
You know, so one thing that one thing that's nice about Song a Day is that I'm always on the lookout, and I suppose this is true for someone like you, Matt, with web development. It's like you're always looking for the thing. I saw you tweet about like the perfect CSS library. It's
yes.
like you're looking for that perfect thing that's gonna like that you can bring into
Right.
your workflow, that's gonna like expand and make things easier. There's an app called Splice that I've known about for ages, and I've just kind of like poo-pooed and not dug into, but it's really great. It's like you pay a subscription and you get these credits, and you can download samples that people upload. It's sort of like, if you know the song Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, like it's that song was built off of a sample that he like a full track rather that he downloaded off one of these places for like $15, you know? And so there's a lot of these kinds of things, but there just happens to be a lot of great sax samples. And I was clicking through and I was like, that's Cool Cats. I heard a sax line and I was like, that is just absolutely Cool Cats, 100%.
Yep.
Oh, amazing.
I want to hear a little bit about, we have the window cleaners here today. Home
really
home
funny.
ownership at its finest.
It's maintenance. 3 generations window cleaning.
3 generations. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Wow.
Your pain, my pleasure.
3
That's really
generations. See, now that would be amazing if like my kids and then my kids' kids carry on Song a Day. That would be like,
Oh, wow.
but I think in some ways that's too much to ask.
Yeah. I feel like the more realistic way to live forever would be for you to make an autonomous artist that
Believe me,
produces
look,
songs. Yeah. I know you're thinking about it.
The main reason for me to do Song a DAO would be to fund
Song
creation.
DAO.
would be to
Yep.
would be to fund the creation of such a of such a thing.
That's got to happen.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, all the pieces are coming into place.
They are. Well, I've actually just had a DM with DataBots who build AI powered things that create mostly out of like metal and like metal music, because there's certain kinds of music that are easier to ape,
Interesting.
because if you feed it a bunch of metal, it's like it all kind of sounds the same. It's all has the same timbre and things.
That's actually quite hilarious. You could build a data-backed diss on which music genre all sounds the same.
It's amazing. I mean, DataBots has this amazing 24-hour stream that you can tune into. That
Yep.
a metal stream that just like it sounds like metal. You put it on.
Yeah.
It's completely AI generated. But I
Wow.
exported like 20 minutes worth of like just my vocals, and they're gonna try to make at least like a vocal version of AI Jonathan. Yeah.
That's really exciting. Yeah.
How many of your songs are metal songs? by the
How
way?
many of mine?
Yes.
I can tell you that. I mean, I can't tell you that at this instant, but for instance, I have these spreadsheets that I do for Song a Day NFT, like getting all the data, and metal is a category.
Oh, you have done it. Okay.
So when I'm
Awesome.
done categorizing all these songs, I will know exactly how many metal songs there are in Song a Day.
Are these categories within your NFTs? So will I
Yes.
be able to say, oh, this is category metal?
Yes.
That's the scarcest category.
100%.
I have one of the scarcest Song a Day NFTs.
That's part of the dream
And year 1 and 2 are on rarity tools. So I think you can actually go see which is the rarest thing or the rarest combo of things. It's kind of obscure, actually. It's like the one time you used a certain instrument.
Exactly.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, that's really cool. This idea of like autonomous artistry, right? You have like the song that owns itself. You have Abraham AI. You have like auto-generated music that's like getting to be listenable. Like it feels like it's all coming together.
Well, what I'd love to see is something that creates its own art, advertises its own art, and sells its own art, and the money goes into a wallet that it owns, but it doesn't have to spend it on anything, so it just accrues.
Right. That'd be sick, honestly.
It just sucks in ether.
Abraham has one of those, right? But I love the idea of the promoting itself. Like that's a whole other step.
Yeah.
Is like the promoting itself, because that's a how do you even train an AI to do that part?
Right.
You know?
It needs to spam its own Twitter feed with.
Right. It needs to learn how to shill properly.
It sounds like it might be the Fed's secret weapon to all the money printing that's happened.
Right, exactly. Honestly, all of those things feel mostly doable, right? I mean, especially if you involve humans in the sort of artistic direction where you kind of have humans propose an art piece that the DAO can then author kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, you sort of have to sort of fire, this week's theme is, and everyone sort of fires, pictures of cats or whatever it is, and out comes this autonomous brain's version of what it thinks is happening, and then accrues this ether into its wallet, and
right. And you can invest that into something, and then the DAO can just make dividends. I dig this. It's kind of cool.
It feels like a logical progression, right?
Right.
I mean, it's like we have all the moving pieces.
Right. Just a really cool art collective idea. Kind of reminds me of Meow Wolf in a way, where it's this like collective building one big art installation, and then that is then like redistributed.
And it sounds like it would automate the Gerbil creating process as well.
Exactly.
Which is which we could. We don't need to then pick the winners. We can let the bot pick the winners and then create the artworks as well.
Well, dude, they wouldn't be any weirder than they are now.
Wait, yeah, I'm actually really curious about the Gerbil NFTs. How did you decide to do that? I mean, I guess it's a pretty natural decision to be like, oh, we're an NFT podcast, let's make NFTs. But
honestly, Matt, I think it's more like, why didn't we?
Right. Why didn't we do this?
I think the question isn't why did they think of it. I think the question is why didn't we think of it?
Right. Luke's sitting there wearing your t-shirts, guys. So
that's true.
You were very close. You were very close.
Yeah, we just touched the idea. Yeah, we're so close to figuring it out. We're soul cycling outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that a lot. And what have y'all seen from that experiment? Because the other publication that I've recognized that does this is the Red Lion Eye, and they have NFTs of each issue. And I'm wondering, how have you seen people interact with these? How do you think the experiment has gone as like a publication that can be people can be a patron of by grabbing the NFT or collecting it or memorabilia kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been really good fun. It's thrown up so many surprises. Originally, we were thinking of a name for the podcast, and we knew we wanted to do an NFT per show, but it kind of came from the name, and Luke's wife basically came up with a name over dinner.
Nice.
And then Luke and I sent each other messages over Telegram, just coming up with like ridiculous meme gerbils to do with crypto. So we had like the Gerbil of Wall Street and FOMO Gerbil, and and it just went on and on and on. And every time we thought of a new one, it just made us laugh. And so then the idea was to basically like throw out these meme gerbil names, and then have the community come back with the description of of what they are. Like how did FOMO Gerbil become FOMO Gerbil? What's the backstory? And that's when everything just became amazing, because you literally couldn't dream up how left field these things get, in a good way. Like everyone is really kind to spend their time and energy, thinking up, what these backstories are. But and then we have Luke found this wonderful illustrator, and so when we pick the best backstories, then she adds her special magic to it as well, because we can think of like how to visualize it, but that she just comes back with this magic of, and she's done a few gerbils now, so she's got really good at it.
Right.
And so these things just appear, and they come to life, and it's nice for listeners to like add to the show in a really big way, because these things become part of the identity. Like Luke and I created this Crypto Voxels Gerbils HQ, and this kind of community artwork, because it's us and them and the artist. It's just everywhere, all over this metaverse wall that we have, and it's a bit like Song a Day, in the sense that, like, we've created something. It's kind of got a life of its own. You just got to keep like pressing the button every day to make them appear. And then we did do something kind of crazy. Right before we started the podcast, we came up with the idea of putting in every Gerbil NFT, we'd put like an element of the picture that represents a seed word to a wallet. So we went and got a whole bunch of what was it, 12 words, Luke?
Yeah. We scoured seeds. We generated seeds endlessly until we came up with something that we thought we could probably make an image for, and put it in each gerbil and spread it out. Yeah,
like a puzzle.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh. Has anyone
so then we
put it together?
Yeah. We held the competition. I think at one point, I can't remember how much was, because we asked all our interviewees to put something in the bucket. Right.
Just something.
And so there was
that's delightful.
Just something, so they put their own artwork in, and we had like 1,000 whale in there or something crazy, Luke.
Wow.
And then so after 12 episodes, we then announced to the community that if you really look really, really hard at the last 12 Gerbils, then you can piece together the 12 words.
Right.
And I had a feeling in the back of my mind that this was practically an impossible job, because there's basically infinite
there's so many words that it could be.
It was basically impossible.
Yeah.
And yet someone got it right.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we gave clues. We gave like one clue a week, and eventually after a few months, someone cracked it.
Incredible.
That's so fun. That is so fun.
I think the prize pool was at the time about $16,000.
That's money.
Yeah.
Just based on the things that everyone had sort of donated.
Yeah, based on a kind of,
To be.
So the 1,000 whale was worth a significant chunk of that. And then there was, there was one of each of the gerbils. And then there was things like an original Jake Bruckman.
Was Larva Labs in there? Had they been on your podcast by then, or
they had, but they hadn't donated a CryptoPunk. We probably should have organized that at the time, but I came back in retrospect and was like, "Hey guys, is there anything that we didn't get a response?" Funnily enough.
Well, they're like legit famous now, so
that's, you bet.
That's like a whole other can of worms.
But in regard to how the experiment's gone, it's been very interesting. We wanted to incentivize creativity of the crowd, and so we weren't charging for the gerbils. We were just giving them away for free, and we pretty much have mostly given them all away for free. At one point, we started creating one extra to sell each episode, and so we do that now. We don't always list them, but we then have them that we will sell them at some point.
So the obvious question, to bring it back around, is: are you going to make a profile picture project of gerbils?
I'll
take that as a no.
It sounds like creating 10,000 gerbils might be a lot.
I think we're far more interested in getting a gerbil song a day, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh, believe me. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'm there. I heard you guys' theme song, which is lovely with the chipmunk voice. I could do something.
Oh my god!
I can do something in the I should say gerbil voice. In that sort of vein.
Or it could be a duet.
Yeah.
A duet with you and a gerbil or a couple of gerbils.
There you go. Yeah. I have like some of the first NFT based songs I made were about my very first NFT was a crypto kitty. And so obviously I wrote a backstory for him and I made him a little song and it has that effect on him. Like the kitty has the high voice effect thing that's happening.
It was probably the most fun that Luke and I had was making that song.
Oh yeah.
But I did have there was a sort of sinking feeling inside where it's like, is this actually going to go out? Is this actually going to be public? I had a few reservations.
And then, but now it's part of the fabric of the podcast, right? Now it's part of the it's part of the thing.
It's quite fun on the Discord watching people sing it.
Yes.
We have these live podcast sort of run throughs on the Discord, and loads of people turn up, and then they all start singing
that's delightful
stuff. It's
That's the
quite
best.
sweet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. So it turned out okay in the end. I didn't need to worry.
No.
Right.
No, it's great. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do like a remix. I'll like sample it. I'll sample the original.
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be fun. Yeah,
I have a similar feeling about the Get Nifty outro that we did for season 2.
Oh, I love that.
It was a real simple joke, and it has come back to bite me multiple times.
Get nifty.
Get nifty. Yeah, we could do both of our outros at the same time for this episode.
So I wanted to, Matt, should we drop the alpha on our project? What do you think?
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
How long does it, just out of curiosity, how long does it usually take you guys to edit your episode and get them out? Like from the time you do it, like when would this air potentially?
We normally turn them around in about a week, but this time is going to take a little bit longer because of the summer holidays. But it's going to be well worth the wait because we've got Stina Jones as the artist for this gerbil.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, awesome collab.
Is that she does the bots, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
I did a song about the bot that I got in the Art Blocks drop.
Oh, awesome.
I did a song about the bot that got in the Art Blocks drop. I think I even did it. Was that the one? It might have been the one that I combined with Death Beef. Like I combined my Death Beef with the Algo bot. Love those Algo bots. That's fantastic.
Yeah, she's amazing.
But so Matt and I are working on a project together for the last couple weeks. It's a PFP. It's 10,003 programmatically generated. We chose 10,003 because it felt like the ugliest number we could think of. It's close to 10,000. And the basic idea behind it that I started with was per our conversation about form dictating function. I went to my artist friend Chris, who actually does an illustration a day, and he's been doing an illustration a day longer than Beeple, believe it or not.
wow.
Although, and this is something I never let him forget, he takes weekends off. So
illustration a weekday.
Right,
Exactly.
illustration a weekday. So plus one for work-life balance, but is that a day?
-2 for commitment. Yeah.
Right. 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
He and I used to have a podcast together, and I used to just make, I used to poke fun at him mercilessly, but he's dabbled his foot. I actually got him onto Foundation. I paid, his gas fees and everything to get him onto Foundation, and a bunch of his amazing GIF art got collected, and so he got into it a little bit. but he's way outside of crypto. He's not a crypto person. I was showing him all the different projects. I was showing him like, here's the apes and here's the cats and here's these. And I was like, does this spark anything for you? And my contribution was, I think that the profile picture should be completely round. I think it should take up the entire round, because they're all squares. Like all the previous profile pictures, they're like a square with the background and then a character in the foreground. And he came up with this idea of trolls. Like he could draw these like really amazing looking troll faces.
George is going to squirm here.
Sorry, carry on.
And so, I can't wait to hear the troll connection, because our project, we don't know exactly what it's called yet. It's something along the lines of we dislike the trolls, or fucking trolls, or
that's a great name.
Fucking
trolls. Yeah. I threw that one out there the other day, and Matt was like, actually, I think that might be it. But and the idea is basically that these projects, there is something beautiful about them and nice about them, but there's also there's a very simple undercurrent of ICO level scam almost, but maybe not rising to the level of scam, but like gross
cash grab kind of
cash grab. Yeah. And then just below that is this kind of this really intense rivalry that happens between the projects, where if you go into the discords, it's like, we hate those apes, they're the worst, and our cats are gonna moon the apes, and then we're gonna be worth more, and it's gonna be great. And then you go into the cats one, they're like, we hate the yetis, we're so much better than the yetis. And like there's this thing. So when Chris showed me these trolls, my immediate thing was like, oh, this is perfect. The troll's job is, it's not your main Twitter avatar, it's an alt. You make an alt specifically to say all the stuff that you don't want to say on your main account about these PFP projects. So you get your troll, you go onto your alt account, and you're free to cause mayhem and mischief amongst anywhere you see people being dumb about PFP projects. You can now get your troll avatar and go and just let her rip. Be as I'm particularly excited to get a troll avatar, and just every time Beanie Maxi tweets anything, I'm gonna be there as a troll to say something, because that's I'd love to be able to be there and say something.
Right.
But I don't want to say it as myself. Yeah.
I have so many thoughts that desire an alt identity, so I'm really excited to be one of the many trolls.
One of the many trolls. Brilliant.
Which one am I?
So it's 10,003. The price is 0.0577 something. The price, when you flip it backwards, it spells out shills.
Shills.
It spells out shills.
Yeah. So the meta art of all of this is that we're parroting the PFP project as an art form, and then also playing by the rules of the art form. And so it's kind of like Stake Network, if y'all have seen that back in the day, back during the ICO boom. I was like, cool, let me play by the book, let me do the website, make a white paper that actually is valid, and like do an ICO, but it's all a joke, and the ICO is going to charity kind of thing. And so the art is playing by the rule book while making fun of it. And so I think we're doing the same thing here, and I'm really excited to see how people take it.
That's super exciting. I love that idea.
I'm curious, George, do you have a particular relationship to trolls and trolling, or what's the...
I tend to... NFTs is such a creative space, right? Yeah. And if you've been in it a long time, you have ideas that pop up. And what I used to do is, when I had one, is I'd make a deck, right? And so I'd immediately just create a 4 or 5 page deck of an idea, and then I'd send them to Luke, and then Luke would basically go, no, it's shit, and then I'd be like, okay, fair enough, bottom drawer. And one of them was called Bag Trolls, and the idea was that you had an NFT that was a troll that represented a specific bag, like you've got your Bitcoin Cash bag, or your Zcash bag, or whatever.
Your
And
bored apes. Your bored apes back.
or your whatever.
Yeah.
And the NFT would change over time depending on how bad the project went.
Yeah, that's funny.
So like if it pumps, the troll would have gold chains, glasses, the whole kind of like, the whole kind of theme would be enrichment, and everything's going really well. And if the project was like really bad, and then the idea would be that everyone would start buying everyone else's bag trolls because the bag troll would represent something terrible that happened to another tribe. And so you'd put that in your avatar and be like, look what's happened to Bitcoin Cash's bag troll.
right.
And so they'd sort of buy each other's depending on how bad the project. Anyway, it never happened, obviously, because like I can't execute anything. But I like having the ideas. So this sounds like a far easier, better way of doing it.
It's simple. I mean, that's we were aiming for. I would be. There's that project that just dropped with the mutants, the mutating NFT,
mutant seeders, Harmvin Dorpal.
Mutant seeders that changes. It seems very much more complicated than just.
Yeah. Well, that's actual art.
That's actual art. Yeah.
I shouldn't say actual art, but it's
I think simplicity is everything, and it in some ways I think Luke being my kind of mirror of kind of like, hey man, look at this. I think every time he was kind of like, you're just never going to execute it. You need something super simple, and
you need something dead simple. Like NonFunGerbils. It's like that's the thing. You got to find the thing, and that's true with Song a Day too. It's like I've gotten really good, at knowing what I can do in a day and what I can't, what I can actually execute,
Yeah, being ruthless. Like, there are a lot of things that I wanted to add to this project. Like, for example, if we don't sell out, I wanted to burn all of the unsold trolls to Vitalik.eth, just as a big old meta joke about the Shiba thing.
Yeah, that was extraordinary.
But it's just like, that's extra solidity to write. I don't know, is it worth it? We could always add something in later to burn the rest. But yeah.
So when's this happening? When's this going live?
Yeah.
Ideally, right as this episode's released, but soon.
Yeah. Sooner than later, we're hoping, We're in the midst of getting the website ready and making sure we're right in the thick of the it's so interesting actually, like even something as simple as this is like it's still a ton of work. Right now we're in the thick of making sure all the different attributes don't clash, And Chris was, first of all, the art is incredible, and that's incredible. That's a key. That's a key to it because Chris is such a good illustrator, having done it every day for the last 15 years or whatever it is.
Right.
But and he went through and he was very meticulous, but he still missed a bunch of ones that kind of clash with each other and don't work. I saw that. I think we're getting rid of the white beard. Is that happening? We're like completely getting rid of the white beard, which was an attribute because it just wasn't working.
So what's the most important aspect of this? Is the aesthetic the most important aspect when it comes to a generative project?
This is a really, that you've just asked a really interesting question, and I was already interested in, and now making one.
It's like, how do you determine why something succeeds?
So I sat in and listened to a Beanie Maxi space.
Like a Twitter voice convo space.
A Twitter Spaces convo between Beanie Maxi and just a bunch of, as they say, degens in the space. And it was fascinating because, I think, and I would assume, I sort of feel like the four of us are approaching NFTs from a slightly different, standpoint of their entire mission is just to, just like ICO, get in before the rug pull, and cash out as much as you can, basically, and flip and do that whole thing. And so listening to them, it was really interesting. It was like, it sounds as though, like, from what they were saying, they will take a chance on any PFP project that's like below 0.05 ETH, and that's basically it. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Doesn't matter, anything. Like they'll
a rising tide raises all boats.
Right. And I think the thinking is like, why not, just on the off chance that it quote unquote moons.
Yep.
You've bought 5 things at 0.05. That's whatever. That's fine, and then, so that's
one gets the impression that Matt's going to have quite a lot of NFTs in the years to come to wrap and rework.
Exactly.
Yeah. The graveyard, the digital graveyard will be full.
Yep. Will be completely overflowing.
Yeah. That was actually one of those scrapped ideas that I had proposed was like an NFT graveyard. It's every NFT sent to 0x0 or 0x dead, and just like
I still love this idea.
Off. Yeah, and you'll be able to see the burnt zombie CryptoPunk,
well,
and
it would have some kind of reflective sort of echo of what the community was thinking at the time. Kind of like if you look back at it through time and you see what was rejected, or for whatever reason, right? Because there's many reasons why these things would end up there. That it would actually be quite an interesting collection, I think.
Definitely
to look at.
But yeah, to the original question, I'm not sure why some projects succeed and others don't. I feel like the base, the par is that the base utility of the thing is met, which is like you can use this as an avatar, and that's kind of useful. And I don't think that's why people buy them necessarily, and certainly people do use them as avatars, clearly. But I think the more dominating motivations are, sort of elsewhere, and there are so many to think about. But obviously, money is one of them. But yeah, it's
community. They all talk about community,
which is really interesting to me because I've never been in an online community that's so what's the word? Like not linked together by anything more so than a shared interest in this like thing going to the moon that I've enjoyed, if that makes sense, right? Like I've been part of online communities that I've enjoyed, and the intersection of that with money is not the one. And so it's like kind of interesting to me that community is the selling point. And I'm like, who in the world is getting off on starting these communities and being in them? And I'm not quite sure, but that isn't to like not say that they are fun or interesting. It's just that I personally don't get it.
Someone said in this Twitter Spaces that I was listening to, they said, I'm paraphrasing, some version of basically like, I met another Bored Ape holder in real life, and it felt like we immediately understood each other. It felt as though we could immediately bond, and I think that's really beautiful. If that's what they're getting out of it, like I think that's really, really beautiful, and I think there's something to be said and definitely special about that. And I think probably in 2017, when I was first getting into this space and I met all the people that were interested in digital scarcity in the same way that I was, it felt that way a little bit. Like we were, we were just a few people that like were really into this thing and that we had that in common.
Yeah.
I don't know how replicable that is with, 10,000 different versions of the 10,000 profile pictures. They all talk about community, and maybe it is replicable. Maybe it's like, the sad snakes. If you find another sad snake owner, you're going to feel right, like you have found each other or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
I feel another song coming on.
Yeah, sad snakes.
That's super valid, right? I mean, like group identity in groups is such a big part of the human experience. So like, I'm not discounting that at all. But yeah.
What you're saying is it's just strange what some of these groups will rally around and find as a sort of a co-shared meme that they can enjoy together. And I guess there's if you add in the financial aspect plus the tribal aspect, then you pretty much cover off quite a lot of crypto generally, wider than NFTs. I think
absolutely.
Yep.
I think,
Yep. Yep.
I said often that, you know, going into many of these PFP discords, if you ever spent any time in a Telegram ICO circa 2017,
Oh, yeah.
2018, you're teleported, you know. It's like
Mhm.
there's a lot of when moons and a lot of, you know, just Lamborghini
these
talk and
bags?
like, how do we pump these bags? Like same,
Yep.
you know, yeah, it feels similar.
I was reading a Twitter thread the other day, and it was one of those like, I just launched a successful PFP project. Here's 10 tips that we learned along the way. Arrow point or finger pointing down. And I was like, cool. If you just search replaced PFP with ICO,
Yes.
I've read this thread before, and it was in 2017. And what's interesting is apparently people haven't learned anything, or the people doing these things are the same or are new and have not listened to history, because a lot of the tips from that thread were exactly the things we learned. I say we, but like the space learned in 2017, 2018, where it's like, hey, use an auction mechanism that isn't first come, first serve, or you'll destroy the chain and whales will get everything. It's like, do this, do that, like gas optimize your contract, like all of these things. And it's just like, yeah, the solidity side was figured out years ago. Like we had, you know, well audited contracts for crowd sales. That was like the big thing, was like, use this crowd sale contract. It's the same thing, just now and with non-fungible assets. It's not different at all, and it's kind of interesting that we're still learning from those same mistakes.
Does that mean that we end up with regulated, or requiring regulation, or getting regulated, because it just keeps coming and keeps coming, wave after wave after wave, and people get burned?
Yeah, I think what's interesting about the NFT craze is that it sidesteps the existing regulation because it's not a fungible asset. And of course, that's like the entire point, is that, you know, it's not a security, because securities are fungible. And this is a completely different object. It's a completely different medium. And so, you know, it doesn't feel like it applies.
Can it not be a security though, if it, like, because haven't you had problems with approaching distributing your songs with a claim to future revenue on?
Right.
So if you want to attach anything to, like in terms of functionality, claims to future revenue, or any kind of promises like that, then it can be deemed a security, and then you're
totally. I guess what I should say is, I don't think NFTs pass the Howey test, or certain NFTs can pass the Howey test. But from a precedent setting, I'm not sure how many non-fungible objects have been classified. Or like, if I'm not very educated in this domain, but it feels like they're separate. And I feel like that's what people are banking on with these projects, is like, hey, let's launch this project, collect, you know, a bunch of floor, this and that, and then sell them. And so you get the benefits of fungible liquidity without the explicit medium of a fungible token. And then, of course, there's the benefit that NFTs ostensibly have utility as visual objects, whereas ICO tokens did not.
Right. That's a clear delineation. That's maybe the one thing that you can say for all the similarities.
Right.
At least, you know,
right.
You got the roadmaps, you got the white papers, you know, there's a lot of promise of future things.
The community.
But with the ICO, there was literally nothing.
Just thin air.
And here, you get something.
You get something.
It might be a poorly drawn, you know, armadillo, but you get something. You know?
Yeah. And I guess art is a security. Is that right? Like art could be considered a security, or at least it's an object that has lots of precedent in at least American law.
I think it probably can, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you buy this. Yeah. I don't know. I should end this with I don't know.
I had this thought. I've been having this thought lately that because I've long wanted to attach some kind of royalty promise to my Song a Day NFT project, right? And I've always run into this problem, but of the SEC. But then I thought to myself, it's like, if I did that, like, is the SEC going to come after like some random songwriter? And if they do, is that bad for me? Because I can imagine a lot of really great songs to come out of like the SEC is suing me, like, you know, and
Just rolls off the tongue.
and what could come of that? Like, honestly, I'm not even joking. Like something like that.
No bad press.
Right, exactly. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Like, that could be huge for me, actually, if the SEC comes after me. So maybe I shouldn't worry about that, and I should just like see what happens.
And especially if you encode it into a contract, you know, whereby it's all automatic and it's all in the background, it's all paid out, and you're not having to, you know, manually do anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
That is the goal,
that's the dream.
That was always the kind of the dream of digitizing assets. I thought, you know, with having everything automated and getting rid of those middlemen and taking out the friction.
Right.
But
definitely.
Legality makes that more difficult sometimes, doesn't it? But maybe we just do it anyway.
Yeah, definitely forgiveness, not permission. Although, if the punishment is high enough, I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, that's the other thing is it's incredibly uncertain, right? Like, it's just hard to know, and the punishment of like falling on the bad side of the SEC is, I don't even know what it is, but I assume it's bad.
It's clearly not a lot if you're EOS.
That's true. Yeah, I should take some notes from those of the space who have gotten away. Yeah.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to your trolls.
Definitely.
Fucking trolls. Yeah, it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's just fucking trolls. I think it's just fucking trolls. I think it has to
No
be.
bonding curves, I take it.
Fuck no. None of that. No FOMO.
Yeah.
No FOMO. Trolls they may be nasty, but they're fair.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's one of the important. There's all these ingredients that you have to weigh up. You know, is it fair? Is it at the right price? Do they look good? I think that for me that's the biggest one.
Yeah. That's it.
And then there's things like the team, and you know, do we know who the team are? Have they done dodgy stuff?
Mostly known. Mostly you have no idea who the teams are.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Which is
not.
wild to me, because there's absolutely no incentive for anyone to work on that roadmap once they sell a few mil. You know, it's like, congrats, you've escaped capitalism. You don't have to do any more work.
No more work for you. Yeah. Yeah, I bought a bunch of cool cats just because as soon as I saw it, I was like, I like them. I like the way they look.
We like the cats.
We like the cats. And
which is not to be discounted, right? You can just like the thing. That's a valid opinion.
You can just like the art.
They are cool. And following your song, I want to buy a cool cat now. But I had a look at the prices, and the price is not right.
No, they've mooned, and
mooned.
the thing that's crazy to me, and the thing that I can't quite wrap my head around this is like, I don't want to sell them. Like I don't. Everyone buys them to sell them, but it's like, literally, I've not ever bought one NFT for the purpose of selling it. It's like, I only minted one autoglyph because it didn't occur to me that I would be able to like sell it for a profit. I just wanted it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now I regret it. But you know, because now it costs more than my house. But like,
We've all been there.
It just feels weird to me. Like I can't imagine parting with them. I just want them so much. I like them. I want them in my wallet.
I think that's the right reason to collect. I think that's the best reason to collect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to discount anybody's reasons, but that's definitely my reason for sure. 100%.
I mean, if we didn't have people flipping them, they wouldn't be worth loads in the first place. So
that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
If it were only for the love of art, things would be different.
Yeah.
But hard to say if that's a viable reality.
Yeah.
Art has never really been separate from capitalism.
There'd be less art, wouldn't there? Because the artists wouldn't get paid. And so therefore, if it was just for the love of art, there would be less art to love. That would be a shame.
Right, that's true.
Except in our Star Trek capitalist or socialist utopia.
Right. What's that? Fully automated luxury gay space
that's what I
gay
want.
Space communism. Yeah, that's the one.
What I want.
Yeah. Now, I did read an interesting thread about Icelandic novelists who, because the population of Iceland, and more specifically the people who speak Icelandic, is very small. There's almost zero money to be made writing a book in that language, but people do it anyway because they want to. And so as a result, you get really interesting books that, both don't have to sell well and the authors know that they will not. So it's quite interesting.
I was talking to I was on a business podcast yesterday.
Ooh.
and he's asking me all this stuff about business, and I found myself saying this, and it's very true. I would be, I don't know if it'd be song a day or what, but like I would be writing songs. It's all I've ever wanted to do. So even if it wasn't my living currently, like I would make songs under any circumstances, regardless. That's what I want to do. That's what I would be doing, And I think there's plenty of people who are like that, who have just a bug that they have. It's like an itch inside me that I'll never be able to fully scratch, that keeps me doing it, basically.
Yeah, totally.
This is why we make gerbils.
Creating things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the best motivation. And yeah, it's unfortunate that we live in a reality. We live in a society.
We live in a capitalist hellscape. So I need to work on my song. Today's song is, I think you all appreciate this. Do you guys know Super Fizz on Twitter? Matt, he was in that hacky sack chain that
fun.
we did a while back. But Super Fizz is he's an Ethereum guy. He's been around. He got wrecked, REKT, by the Stoner Cats, the Ashton Kutcher Stoner Cats thing.
What happened?
He I don't know exactly what happened, but he lost 5.8 ETH in a failed transaction that happened that like reverted or something, but didn't send him
consumed. Oh, interesting.
It consumed everything or something, but anyway, he lost 5.8 ETH.
Yeah. I mean, their contract is famously bad. Like,
apparently
they've made so many mistakes and they're wasting so much gas. It's hilarious. It's so yeah. Anyway,
so he has conscripted me now to make a song about his failed transaction.
Yeah,
and his wife's reaction to it. And I had him film. I had $13,000.
Yeah,
down the
real
drain.
Numbers.
And I had him film a little skit with his wife. So I'm working on the song that's going to go along with him and his wife, a little video. I'm very excited about it. That's it's right here. That's what I'm working on. That's what I'm working on today.
At least they'll have something good that comes out of it then.
Right.
That's my goal. And I'm going to try to get him to pay me 5.8 ETH for it. See if that works.
They're going to love that suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And then you can make a song about that.
Yeah.
Him telling his wife that. Yeah.
And then sell that one.
Right.
And we've just created the AI bot that just goes on forever and funds itself. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, guys, that's a great place to leave. What better excuse could there be to head our separate ways than to create the Super Fizz track?
That's it.
Thanks so much for coming on and having a chat about everything NFT. You were our inspiration back in the day, and so it's great that it's come full circle.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think if we are inspired to do anything, it would be we should really think about like neither of us want to put work into it, but like what's the low effort version of making a digitally rare NFT? Like what could we do that would make sense? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
would love to take some inspiration there.
Exactly. And thank you guys.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your outro and then we'll do our outro?
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. And I've got this whole long list of questions here. We didn't touch any of them. It's great. It's just nice to just chill.
We'll have to do part two. We'll have to do part two.
Yeah. So yeah, cheers, guys.
You want to say get nifty, Matt?
I guess I will. Get nifty, everybody. Get nifty.
Get nifty.
He said it.
Get nifty. Oh, that's what we should have done. We should have let Luke or George do it. Take it off.
Oh, yeah.
Should we see if we can harmonize it?
Yeah, should we?
Did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get nifty.
Get nifty. Get nifty.
I should have been left out of that one. My God. Jeez.
That was quite
man.
fun.
That was lovely.
All right, guys.
Awesome. See y'all next time.
Oh yeah, you gotta get nifty. It's time to get nifty in here. Everybody get nifty.
So we've got some gerbils to discuss.
We do? Yep. It's gerbil time.
The entries and winner for BearGerbil.
Yeah, we've sort of come out of the bear a little bit.
Yes, we have.
It was good timing.
This is good. And I think maybe that was predicted by some of the stories.
Indeed. Well, the first one up is from Carla McJ. So thanks for this. In the deepest of wood, Mr. BearGerbil stood, a pessimist, all doom, surrounded by gloom. Night was soon falling, darkness was calling. When out of nowhere came a voice, Mr. Bear! Then came a bright light, and he jumped out of fright. How much glare could this BearGerbil bear? But he needn't have fear, the voice was all cheer. Algobot is my name, fortune-telling my game. Bear market is no more, kiss goodbye to the floor. With a toot and some thrust, Algobot turned to dust. BearGerbil did scream, was this all just a dream? But that very next day, Algobot's words came into play. The markets looked great. Everyone was an ape. BearGerbil did roar as he checked out the floor. My heart is now full. From now on, I'm the bull.
Oh, very nice, Carla.
Yeah, future telling.
It actually came true.
Well,
For now.
so far. For now. Yeah.
So far, yes, especially in the NFT markets. Okay, great. Right. On to the good news. Thank you for your entry. It's larger than life, this BearGerbil. And true to its name, this girl has a growl that will curl your toes. But many people don't realize that 1559 decibels of her bark actually happen in the unheard ultrasound range, giving this BearGerbil quiet, hidden power. And in August, she rolls over from her beary summer nap, sated on NFT grubs. And we will see. She was only a bear cub who had 50x still to grow. But her slumber has also revealed a change, an evolution of this cub into Chiroptera gerbil, with wings of fire burning grey in her wake.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's powerful.
All in favour of
Chiroptera
Chiroptera gerbil being the next gerbil.
I think we're going to have to add that one to the list.
And now on to our winner, at Henschel86, otherwise known as Esoteric. This one's fantastic. Let's see if I can do it justice. When BearGerbil came out to play, the bulls decided to stay away. The sudden ferocity of this cuddly bear meant many choose to keep their distance and stare. When is it safe to return? Do I need to see an ascending triangle pattern as not to burn? While crypto winter was indeed a harsher place, those with a passion saw it was a correction in an otherwise long race. BearGerbil was seasoned enough to know there were plenty of good projects buried, not too deep, under the snow. Time to fill my honey pot and get back to sleep. When I wake, I'm sure I'll have more to eat. Very wise words.
Very nice.
That's exactly what we all did, isn't it, Luke? I got a large pot of honey and went to sleep, and woke up with a slightly larger portfolio.
About half an hour ago.
Well,
Is that right?
Yes, but, it's volatile out there. So let's put it that way.
Well, yes. Thank you, Henschel86. Or 3 Esoteric, and thank you to Stina Jones for making the decision on the very difficult decision on who to pick as the winner, and then creating an amazing gerbil to match. I love her style. She's done a great job on this. So we're going to be sending everyone who sent in a story one of Stina's gerbils.
It's beautiful, especially the Ethereum flavoured honey pot.
Yes. Okay, so on to the next gerbil, George.
Yep.
We are doing another collaboration Another fantastic collaboration
Dun, dun, dun.
with the one and only Song a Day man, Jonathan Mann.
The legend that is.
We're going to do a something slightly different. We're going to do a song. You are going to send in your songs for Song a Day Man and us to collaborate and create a special song and Gerbil.
Am I going to have to sing?
Well, you might have to. But the song already has a title. We already have a name for this Gerbil, and that is The Gerbil Who Lost His Seeds.
Ah. Yeah. Yeah, losing seeds is super bad. But
Yeah.
very,
And
very apt. Yeah.
he could be a little sad. He could be that he's learned a lesson and he's got on with his life. I don't know. You tell us.
You could have lost your seeds, early 2016 and then found them again now. That would be all right, wouldn't it? That would be a happy
That would be a pretty happy
gerbil
tale.
that lost its
Yeah.
seeds.
Well, this is the problem when you don't have cheeks that you can stuff your seeds into like a hamster. Unfortunately, gerbils don't have that luxury.
Good stuff. Well, I think that's definitely creative enough for everyone out there to get their creative juices flowing.
Yeah, put a song together, get the lyrics to us rather, and then we will make a song out of it, and Jonathan will make a song out of it. And it can be any genre. I think maybe the genre is obvious, or maybe we have to improvise on that one. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Awesome. Well, thanks very much, George. Shout out to everyone at the listening party right now. If you don't know, we have a listening party for every episode. It's a lot of fun. Come and join us in our Discord for that. And we always have popes to give away, and then we always do a pope raffle for some whale.
See you in there.
See you there, George.
Cheers, mate.